And we are live, guys. We'll give a few minutes for everyone to stream on in. Today, I'm joined by two special guests. First of all, Mr. Dom's Crypto. How you doing, my friend?
Nice. Thanks for having me. I'm all good. How are you?
Good stuff, man. And secondly, we have Girl Gone Crypto, aka Leah. How you doing?
Hey, doing great. Excited to be hanging out with you guys. This is gonna be fun.
Yeah, good stuff. I have so many questions for you guys because personally, like my background, I have about this much experience in marketing, so it's been really interesting having to learn a bit about it. So like, I have a lot of questions, but I guess one that I could start with was, let's say you have like one piece of content that you're creating, let's say a video. Um, like how would you take that and make the most out of it, like extract all the juice, everything? I guess we could start with you, Leah, if you want.
hmm Well, I can start. Sure, yeah. So I really do try to kind of look at how much mileage I can get out of a piece of content because it's really hard to have this kind of presence of always being active on
Hmm.
social media while constantly having to come up with brand new things all the time. And so I think if you have a certain piece of content, whether that is a YouTube video or a podcast or a blog post or a live stream or like whatever your kind of main piece of content is, there's usually lots of micro pieces of content hidden within it. So,
Mm.
like for example, I just interviewed Lynn Ulbrich about
Cool.
the whole free Ross movement. Yeah, so we actually were roommates at World CryptoCon together. So we had this super chill like coffee in our room chat
Really?
talking about Ross, which was really fun. But what I did is I took a couple of different sound bites. So from that 15-minute interview, I have maybe 3 to 4 short videos
Hmm.
that I can post on Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, like wherever else I want to post it, and then link to the YouTube channel. So each one of those is an interesting and unique piece of content for the shorter form platforms, but it's all driving traffic to the original video as well. So that's kind of the first way that I think about it, is how can I take little sound bites of something and segment that into shorter pieces of video.
Thank you. And Dom, you got anything to add to that?
Yeah, that's pretty much spot on. Creating many pieces of content out of one long form content piece is crucial, and it's a brilliant strategy. I would also like, if we're talking about crypto space, you can use different Reddits to post your content onto different subreddits.
Hmm.
You've got so many social media platforms like LinkedIn, as mentioned, Facebook, all those Facebook groups. Even though they seem dead at first glance, there are some really, really good ones out there.
There's some
And
lurkers
with
out there.
yeah, so I mean, so what you could do is create a fan page on Facebook, for example,
Mhm.
join 50 groups. It doesn't even have to be crypto. It can be like, tech, and
Finance.
anything that kind of exactly relates to crypto.
Hmm.
And with a click of a button, you can share to all those groups at once. So there's, yeah, things of that nature, different growth hacks, which you can use to just, yeah, get the exposure out there.
Interesting. So
Um,
that made me think of two questions. Firstly, I'm a horrible host. Dom, if you could just give us a quick background, like what's your specialty before I'm so bad at this.
no, it's cool. So yeah, I mean, what I do is I mainly work with clients in the crypto space. I do marketing for them, hands-on, and strategy. So I create strategy for the teams. I also work with some of the clients hands-on, as I said, on their marketing and their exposure. Uh,
Hmm.
so that's one of the things that I'm doing. I'm also building my presence online, in trying to do a better job at it.
Hmm.
Always improving, but obviously with the lack of time, um, it's not always as easy.
Hmm.
But I'm trying to, yeah, make the best out of it. So
Hmm.
yeah, I'm trying to improve my presence in the crypto space as Dom's Crypto.
Yeah, good stuff, man. I've heard of your YouTube channel before, absolutely. So I mean, you're doing something right, man. It's tough also when you're managing two things. One on the client side, where you actually have to create content for others, and then you get home, you're like, fuck, I gotta do some more work. You know what I mean? That's really not easy. Um,
Yeah, I mean,
mhm.
being able to work remotely for those clients is always helpful because I don't have to come back home.
Yeah.
So always at home.
That's a really good point, though. And I think that's something that's really attractive about this type of work. I don't know many people who do it, but it's one of those jobs that you can basically do anywhere if you have the creativity for it and an internet connection. Um,
100%.
yeah, and Leah, can you give us a quick background on what you do?
Yeah, so like you mentioned in the beginning, my channel is Girl Gone Crypto,
Hmm.
and so I've been in the crypto space for a few years, and just kind of more casually like interested in it. And so my channel's actually pretty new, just a few months old, which is really fun.
Hmm.
But it's just been really fun to get to make more content. I enjoy making content, like you said. It's a pretty interesting line of work, if you will, where you can work remotely and get to hang out with cool people like this and talk about really interesting topics. So I make content and videos about a lot of different things. To be honest, I'm kind of I like to call it in the spaghetti mode, where I'm just like throwing things up and seeing what sticks right now. And
Okay.
so, I'm doing interviews and different, you know, tech
Hmm.
reviews, or like project reviews, tutorials, talking a bit about crypto marketing stuff. So right now
Hmm.
I'm a little all over the board right now.
Oh, good stuff. Um, Thanks for sharing. One thing though, Dom, earlier you had mentioned Reddit, Facebook. Out of all of these groups that you could post in, like what have you found gave you the most success for your clients or for yourself? Is there one platform that really stood out to you?
So Reddit is interesting, especially if you have a favorite crypto project. I don't know. It can be. Let me take an example of Cardano, for example. So it's many YouTubers on the platform were doing videos about ADA
Mm-hmm.
and just mentioning, briefly what it is, what it does, what's the future, etc. So Reddit was great for that because they've actually accepted those posts on their subreddit. So yeah, with just a few clicks, you were able to get to those hardcore fans of ADA, and they've all engaged on that video. They've asked questions. You got views. So yeah, just I
Hmm.
mean, it's all about exploring what works and what others do. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. So what I do is I look at the top YouTubers, what they mention, what they're passionate about, and trying to kind of come up with content pieces that relate to that subject.
Mm-hmm.
There was a couple of YouTubers recently that made a video about Bitcoin and how much Bitcoin you should own, and that tag was so popular, and you got a lot of views out of it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, just looking at trends, don't have to reinvent the wheel, as I said. That's for growth.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, with time, I'm still finding my own kind of style,
Mm-hmm.
but with time, you kind of pick up your own style and what actually um, excites your fans,
Right.
excites the people that subscribe to you. But for the growth phase, I think you can just yeah, look at the trends.
Hmm. That's really smart. And obviously, I don't want to extract all the free alpha from you guys. I know you worked hard to discover your own techniques and stuff. But in terms of like discovering analytics or trends, Leah, is there any website or any
Mm.
places a person can go to actually see what's trending? And, how could a person do that?
Yeah, that's a good question. One of the things that Dom, you just said about looking at what other YouTubers are doing, a kind of a practice that I like to do every once in a while is look up the top crypto YouTubers, filter their videos to their top videos and be like, hey, in the last few months, what have been their top trending videos? And then do that for like 10 YouTubers and see if there's any kind of overlap.
Exactly.
So that can be one thing. But even more specifically, doing like keyword planning. So like that's something I'm starting to dig more into. Like Google Keyword Planner is a decent enough tool, but it's pretty amazing sometimes when you look at a particular topic and you think, oh yeah, that would probably be really popular, but a slightly different variation of that maybe gets like 10,000 more searches a month than the one you were originally thinking, but it's really similar. And so
Hmm.
I think that actually looking at keywords and seeing what people are actually Googling and searching for can be a really good kind of growth hack kind of thing, like we were just talking about with finding what's trending and what people are actually physically looking up online.
Hmm. Dom, do you have anything to add to that?
I would definitely agree. Um,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
All right, good stuff. In terms of like, for clients, when you're creating content for, let's say, a crypto project, what's the variance in pricing in terms of crypto as a specialization or a regular marketing brand? I don't know, like socks or whatever. Is there a big difference in price, in exclusivity? Like, how does that work?
Well, so mainly what I do personally is I do not only content creation, but like the entire suite of marketing, endeavors for those projects is not only, creating videos, creating content pieces to go on social media. It's it's quite deep, if you think about it.
Hmm.
It's but when it comes to creating content, and as you said, pricing, these projects are often startups, so they have money that's kind of not theirs at their
Hmm.
disposal. If you see what I mean, if they raise money from
Hmm.
the investors, um, they're able to try new things, try what works, and kind of, yeah, they're more happy to try things rather than kind of plan it out. If you see what I
Okay.
mean.
Yeah.
So the difference in price and what you can get from the crypto space is bigger than, as you said, the
Hmm.
kind of regular marketing firm with socks.
Hmm. Fair enough. In terms of like reaching out to these companies, Leah, do you find it's better to go out your way and just DM them? Do you send them pigeon mail? Like, how do you reach out to people, or do you just post content and and people come to you? Like, what's a method that
Mm.
you've seen work?
Yeah, so right now, I'm not necessarily like talking with like tons of companies when it comes to like sponsorships or doing things
Hmm.
like that. And so sometimes what I will do is make a project review about a particular topic or about a particular project that I'm kind of interested in learning more about, and then that often gets their attention because they're like, "Oh wow, what is this? Who is this person that made this awesome video or whatever." Um, but yeah, I think generally speaking, crypto Twitter is, for me anyway, kind of just where that's been at. Like when I look at my YouTube channel analytics, like the majority of my traffic is coming directly from Twitter.
Hmm.
And so one thing, Dom, that you were talking about with, these kind of startup companies don't necessarily always have the biggest budget when it comes to marketing. Like I think that any crypto company that's not really utilizing crypto Twitter, that's kind of a lost opportunity because that's a free way to engage, and that's really where a lot of the conversation is happening. It seems, it's
Hmm.
such a shareable platform. You can retweet, you can do things. It's a lot. I feel like it's easier to get noticed on Twitter than it is on other platforms.
So, with that being said, do you think Twitter, if you're, let's say, into crypto and you're starting out and you're like, I want to start sharing things and sharing my thoughts, do you think Twitter would be the best place to start, or YouTube? You know what I mean?
So
In terms of
I think that
exposure.
Twitter,
Hmm.
in terms of exposure, I think it's Twitter. I think that if you want to be making, like we talked about, that kind of higher form of content, whether it's YouTube or blog posts or podcasts, I think that that is kind of like your base.
Hmm.
That's your, because, you can just randomly kind of be on Twitter, but then people are like, well, what do you do? Like, what is your,
Hmm.
what is your thing? So when
Yeah.
you have that, like, oh, I've got a podcast, I've got a channel, that kind of helps you create that content from the ground up. Like we talked about, you can segment out chunks from your video and post it on Twitter. But I think in terms of actual reach and growth, like when I look at the analytics of Twitter versus YouTube, I mean, sure, my YouTube channel is still growing, but like the impressions, like everything, shareability, like it's so much higher on Twitter.
Mm-hmm. Dom, do you agree?
Yeah, Twitter is a great platform, but I also think, like, as you said, it's either YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, or whatever. I think, YouTube, you have to be good on camera. I think in most cases. In some cases, obviously, you can just
Wear a mask.
be good. Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. I mean, yeah, you can do voiceovers, all that fun stuff. But that might not be your thing. So you might find that voice is your thing. You might do a podcast in crypto. You might find that writing text form is your thing. So you'll go to LinkedIn, build up a following or some audience on that platform. Be specific to like business to business, and then you can monetize that. You can monetize any platform. I feel like whether it's Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, podcast, whatever you do, it's just about finding the way that you communicate the best and kind of sticking to that, really.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point. And Cred in chat, he said, imagine paying for marketing. It's not real. Just close your eyes and do something valuable. You know what I mean?
Oh, I love that.
No, but I think he's really right. And just creating value that people can use. I think that should be like the start. You know what I mean? You can pay for all the marketing, but if your product doesn't work, if it's shit, if you're lying to people, in the end, it's all a waste. So I guess that ties into what you're saying, Dom, about finding the best platform for you and delivering your content in a way that's best for your audience. I'll take it you're both more comfortable with video, clearly, since you're on YouTube and doing this right here. Am I correct, or did you start from writing? Was it always video?
Sure.
Hmm?
Oh, here, I'll go.
Yeah, go for it. Sorry.
I love video. I'm definitely more comfortable in video. I've tried writing articles and blog posts, and I can. I'm not a terrible writer, but I just feel like for me, it's a lot more effort for me to write because I have to really think about how to formulate sentences where like we can just have a conversation. Like, I love this. I'm like, perfect. Let's just start up a video and see where it goes.
Yeah.
And so, and I think that is a valuable kind of thing, but it does take time. Like, I've been making video content for years in different arenas. I'm making video content here in crypto, but I also have done a lot of tech tutorial kind of things. I randomly play the ukulele and I've done music covers and like just random things like that. And so I would say that at first I probably was really awkward on camera, and it's just one of those things that maybe some people are more natural. Like the curve is less, but it still is just something that takes time and practice. So.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think like as you said, video. I think video is king. I mean, what you can do from video, you can transcribe. You can get someone to transcribe it, pay them, a couple of bucks, and you've got a text content. You can also export audio from the video and have a podcast. So I think video is definitely king in that respect. So it's very versatile.
Interesting. So if I were to look for someone to pay a couple bucks to transcribe, what would be the best website to go to?
Well, it's
give me the secret sauce, sir.
Yeah, I mean there are many websites like Upwork, things of that nature. Even if you I don't know, go on Telegram, join a crypto community, and ask someone, and tell them you pay them. It's just being creative. Many crypto projects utilize bounties and stuff. So many community members that they have in their Telegram channels, they're looking for those quick $5 or $10 or whatever. So yeah, just be creative.
If you don't mind a little extra work, you can get it for free from YouTube, but it takes a lot of a little extra editing. So you can download the transcript, but it has all of the timestamps in it. So you have to go through and delete all the timestamps. So it's probably worth paying someone a couple bucks on Upwork, but you can get a transcription for free. And actually Zoom I believe has a free transcription option as well. So I'm not sure how that works, but that could be something you could look into as well.
Nice. So like one question I've had in terms of, let's say, a client is looking for a marketer, right? What would they need to do to take you seriously? Do you need to have a website? Do you need to have things on every platform? Like, what would be the first thing that you would tell someone to create in order to get into that field? Can we start with Dom?
Yeah, sure. I mean, a website is crucial. I would say to just kind of express what you're doing, what your services are, and build things from there. If you have any reviews, any testimonials, it all goes to your website, and you can spread that around. It's easy to share with potential clients, potential leads. So yeah, I mean, a website would do the job. Obviously, you have to know how to market. You need to know what you're doing. So yeah, just gain experience, creating a website. In my case, like I have 2 clients right now, and the way I kind of I didn't approach them. It kind of came out in a conversation I was having because they've actually seen my Twitter account, and so I didn't do any selling. It was just because I had a little bit of people on Twitter. They started talking to me about some stuff, and it just came out in a conversation that I'm actually doing marketing and I can help them. So it wasn't really a sales pitch. So my presence definitely helped me in that respect. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah, and interestingly enough, like I know that my kind of main focus is on building my own brand and channel, but I actually do some client work as well in the crypto space, which is kind of interesting and kind of like what you were saying, Dom. Like it just kind of happened. Like it wasn't that I was really even seeking it out. But what some of the stuff that I've been doing is like I've had different crypto brands see my videos and they're like, hey, we really need a tutorial video about our project done. Can you make a video, like not necessarily to go on my channel, but like can we pay you to make a video that we can use on our own platforms, and so it's almost like they're just like I'm a freelancer and they're hiring me to make a video. And so that's just kind of randomly come about from getting a lot of requests. So I've been doing more of that. I'm thinking about kind of chilling that back a little bit so I can focus more on my own channel, because I had a stretch of time where I was working so much on client videos I wasn't putting up anything on my own channel. So I'm like, maybe this is kind of counterintuitive, but kind of to what we're talking about, like I haven't had to like sell that. If that was a service I really wanted to offer, I haven't necessarily had to go out and try to kind of capture that attention. But I do think a website is really key. My website is about to go live. It's really close.
Congrats.
Which is awesome. Thank you. But the reason that I think a website is important, whether you're a content creator or you are, you have some sort of agency, like where you're doing a marketing, you're doing marketing work for other brands, I think that it allows you to control your image a little bit more. And so, like if I just send someone a link to my Twitter or my YouTube channel, they're going to see the latest videos, the latest tweets, just whatever it is. And so if I have a website where I'm like, hey, this is what I'm about, this looks really professional, here's like some really professional photos of me, here's images of me speaking on stages at different crypto events, images of me, on different panels and teaching workshops, and like all these different things, I can control their first impression versus them just seeing the latest thing I randomly tweeted, right? So I think that's kind of why it's important for building a personal brand and for kind of the other side of things where you have services and offerings too.
Cool. That was very that was really well formulated. When I was at World CryptoCon in Vegas, I was speaking to a few YouTubers who have decent sized channels, and I was asking them for like tips and tricks on how to I guess improve my channel. And the one thing that I remember them telling me is that in regards to the YouTube algorithm, it's best if you post consistently. So if you're going to post one video a day for 5 days, like you have to keep that steady throughout months. If you're going to post 2 videos a day, it's 2 videos for months. Is that something similar that you guys have heard, or are you researched in that sense?
I would say that I've heard that to be true, but I don't have 100% of like the research behind me, but
Mm-hmm.
one thing I will say is even if it's not from the algorithm standpoint, from the community building standpoint, then when you're consistent, then you are naturally going to build an audience faster, a more loyal audience when they know, hey, on Thursdays I'm going to see this video. That's a lot better than, oh look, it's been 2 weeks, here's something,
Mm-hmm.
so I definitely think consistency is key on
Mm-hmm.
any platform, but I'm not super researched on the algorithm side of things, but that does make sense that it would be.
Cool.
Yeah. So I mean,
Mhm.
when it comes to you know, any social media platform, whether it's YouTube, whatever, consistency is always the key. I mean, if you create videos, 10 videos,
Mhm.
traction. And I think it's also about momentum within yourself. If you stick to a schedule, if you say to yourself, okay, I'm going to follow a certain rule, like I'm going to wake up every day, create a video, that's going to improve you as a person as well. I mean, having a schedule helped me a lot. And I know how, different it is than having no schedule at all in my life.
Mhm.
So even when you're building something on, let's say, YouTube, and you create a schedule of being consistent, putting out content regularly, and yeah, it'll help you as a person, and also one of them might pop. You never know.
Mhm. Yeah, that's fair.
I
Mhm.
Oh, sorry to interrupt.
No, that's cool.
I was just going to say that the scheduling is so key, and that's actually something I'm really looking at implementing for myself too.
Same.
Like I was listening to, do you guys listen to Gary V, Gary
Yeah, I
Vaynerchuk
do. Yeah, of course.
at all? I don't know. He's a marketing, he's internet sensation,
Yeah.
whatever you want to call him. Anyway, and one of the things he was talking about that really kind of hit home for me was like, if you're always trying to create content from the bottom up, it is going to be such trying to come up with ideas. But if you create content from the top down, it's a lot easier. And what he meant by that is that if you set certain things like, hey, on Wednesdays I have this specific thing that I do,
Mhm.
on Fridays I have this specific, and you have almost like these like little mini shows, or you have like every Thursday my podcast comes out. When you have certain kind of things that are consistent every week, it's easier to make content because you're like, oh, it's Wednesday, I do this thing, versus, what should I do today? So that's something I'm kind of looking at, is building out more, like maybe what day of the week I'm doing particular types of content, just to make it easier, so I'm spending less time just spinning my wheels trying to come up with something.
Dom, are you into Gary Vee at all? Or is
Of course, he's
yeah?
my inspiration. I
Really
mean,
interesting.
yeah, I religiously listen to his podcasts actually. So funny you said that.
Mhm.
That Gary Vee is really big on content, and I share that. So he's one of the things he said is like create 100 pieces of content a day, whether it's a YouTube video plus 99 tweets, or just maximize the potential of your time if you're building something for yourself, and then create as much as possible. And then going back to the last point, if you create 1,000 videos and every video gets 1,000 views, that's better than creating 10 videos with 10k views. So it's all about momentum and making the most of your time when you're growing your audience, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Is what he's
Is what
trying
he's
to
chatting about.
kind of,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's actually he's been really big on TikTok recently. Are you guys on that app at all? Like, I know fucking Michael Nye is like blowing up on that right now.
Oh yeah.
He's killing it. He's got like 15,000 followers. Not that I'm stalking him.
Yeah. Yeah,
No,
like.
I
No, but no, as I was saying, like when I was with Michael in Vegas, his TikTok got banned because we were at We were at a dispensary. Michael doesn't smoke though, but he took a video in the dispensary and he uploaded it to TikTok, and they basically banned his account. So he created a new one while he was there, and this was, a week and a half ago maybe, and he's at like 15,000 followers, like doing jack shit, doing videos. You know what I mean? Like 10, like a minute video. So, like, do you guys think that that's actually a good way? Have you looked into TikTok at all? I'll start with Leah, if possible.
So I've decided that I will become TikTok famous. You guys wait, it's gonna happen.
Yeah,
I've been
man.
on TikTok for like 5 days. I don't know why I'm not famous yet. But what's interesting is, we talk about building branding, and I feel a little bit torn on like how much is this really, because at first, I mean, if you look me up on TikTok, it's Girl Gone Crypto, and I was like, oh, I'll just make kind of funny Bitcoin crypto related things.
Mhm.
And there is definitely like there's millions of videos about crypto on there, even though it seems like such a small segment of TikTok.
Mhm.
But what I've kind of found is like you want to be doing these random dance challenges and lip syncing things, and that's really what the platform's about. So I don't think it's really the best place to build a specific, like, I'm talking about this niche necessarily. It's kind of more you're just doing random stuff.
Mhm.
But the reason that I think it's interesting is not just because you can build 15,000 followers in like a week, and you can, like, my videos, like I think I have now 200 followers in 5 days or whatever, and I have thousands and thousands of views on my videos. And so I think where the value comes in is down the road. So like let's say when I have like 500,000 followers on TikTok, a lot of those people that are higher up, and have those big followings are converting those followers over to YouTube, to Instagram, to other platforms as well.
Mm.
So even though right now it might seem like a silly waste of time, I'm doing random like dance challenges and whatever.
Yeah.
I do think like long term, if it's something I stick build a big following, it will help channel traffic to other channels as well, if that makes sense.
Mhm. And Dom?
Yeah, exactly. So I agree 100%, but it's as we said, all about making the most of your time. And right now, TikTok is hot. If you're a public figure, if your face is out there, not you, Batty. I keep making those little. Um, anyway, so yeah, I mean, make the most of TikTok while it's hot. Strike the iron while it's hot. You never know. You might not be into crypto in a year's time. It's fine, but you're building your presence online, whether it's crypto, whether it's if you move on to something, if something else fascinates you down the road more, you can,
Pivot.
these people know you. These people, it's a group of people that are kind of, used to your seeing your face. So whatever you do, they'll accept that. Some of them will.
Another thing that I think is interesting about TikTok is that, we talk about personal branding, like what does that even mean? And like to me, personal branding is if I meet someone at a conference and they already feel like we're best friends, like that is winning to me, And so when you have these moments where people can get more of a glimpse into who you are, like I think that really helps strengthen that relationship. And so that's why I think live stream is actually really awesome, because you're seeing a more unplugged, less edited, just kind of hanging out side of someone. But that's why I also think TikTok is really cool, because they're seeing your like nerdiest, weirdest, bad self, and like the people that I follow on TikTok that are kind of in the crypto space, like Nye and Bitboy, crypto is huge on there. He loves using it. I feel way closer to those two people because we're always commenting on each other's TikToks than I maybe do with other crypto YouTubers. You know what I mean? Even if I've watched more of their YouTube videos, the fact that I'm seeing these like weird little moments in their life like makes me feel like we're more friends. So I think that's kind of cool too.
In that case, so where do you think in the next 5 years a person should, like, on not necessarily on what platforms, but in what, I know we talked about earlier, like person should obviously do whatever they're most comfortable with, but what platform do you think a person should work on becoming better at just because of the value, or type? Would it be live streaming?
Just I would almost almost say just video in general, because there's so many facets to video, like live streaming, creating YouTube content, being comfortable making TikToks if it is, doing little, whether you go live on Instagram for like a couple minutes, just in general, I think speaking on camera
Hmm.
and being, I don't want to use the word authentic because that's such an overused word, but just being comfortable, I think, on camera. And so that's probably one of the biggest skills that you can create.
Hmm.
I think live streaming can be a little intimidating for people because, like, at least I say that for people, for me, because, like, all of the different, like, tech side of things, but that's where, like, Periscope and, you know, Facebook Live and Instagram Live and all those are kind of an easier entry point into that. And what's interesting is when you look at these social media platforms and what they're pushing, what they really want people to be doing, live video is definitely what a lot of these platforms are encouraging. Like their
Hmm.
algorithms like it when you go live. Even LinkedIn is testing out the live video option right now, which is pretty big for them. And so you can kind of almost look at the trends of what these platforms are trying to push to see what's going to end up being pretty big, I think, coming up.
Cool. Dom?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I agree. What video allows you to do is be diversified with your content. As we said in the beginning, it allows you to create different types of content pieces from that long form video. And we've mentioned live. Live is great. I mean, I'm this is my first ever live interaction with anyone in the crypto space. So
Hey,
that's
welcome,
interesting.
man.
That's the
Let's
first.
go.
You're doing
So
great.
yeah, it's interesting. I mean, live is great because you can go live, you can have a recording of it, and then create short pieces of content out of that, long live video. So it really allows you to be diversified in that field.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. So I guess with that being said, I'll ask like one more question. I know you guys are probably pretty busy today. Um, to someone new looking in right now, what would be, I guess, the first step or the first piece of advice you tell them if they want to get into content creation or anything like that? Who wants to go first? I'll go first on this one. If you're gonna
Go on.
Oh
create,
yeah.
if you're gonna create content, create things that A, don't piss you off, B, you know something about, and C, just I guess make you happy. For
Mhm.
example, like with what I do, it's not much, but just doing technical analysis to me like relieves my stress. If I'm stressed, I hop on, I do that, and I just whatever post my content. That makes me feel better in a reverse way. So that's why I've been able to be steady, and I don't have a huge following. However, it doesn't piss me off to do it just because it feels right. You know what I mean? So I guess that's what I would say. Um, yeah.
I love that you said that because I think that's so true. Like you have to have fun. People can feel on the other end if you are actually enjoying it or if you're like, "Oh, every other YouTuber is doing X type of thing, so I guess I should do it." Like, no, that's what'll set you apart
Mm-hmm.
is that you're doing things differently. And like even like we were just both at World CryptoCon, right? And like some of the creators I met, they looked like stressed out. Like, oh, I got to do this. I got to make this. I got to get these interviews. And I'm like, you like that. I'm like, I don't ever want to get there. Like, of course, I want to maximize my time at conferences and whatever it may be, but it's still got to be something that you are having fun with. And I think that people will feel that. And the other thing I really want to say as a piece of advice for someone that's starting out is like just be willing to put stuff up, and if it fails, guess what, you can probably delete it, you know what I mean? But
Mm-hmm.
you never really know what is going to kind of end up sticking and being something that people really appreciate. Like be willing to get a little out of your comfort zone and be a little weird and be like just a little different, and don't worry so much about how it's going to come across or what people are going to think, because people will tell you really quickly if they like it or they don't, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so I think that just being willing to put yourself out there is going to set you apart from all these other people that are thinking about starting and they never actually do.
Exactly. I agree. And I'm gonna play a little devil's advocate for 2 points that you guys mentioned because Bagsy, you mentioned that you would advise people to do what they're good at. I don't think that's actually true, because I if I were to start in crypto and start from zero, if I wanted to produce content at the beginning, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know if I'm good at it or not. So
I'll rephrase this. I meant knowledgeable, not necessarily good.
Got it. Yeah. I mean, for me, I'm not great, but it allows me to have the start and look at my kind of history of what I was doing, how I was developing my knowledge, and just it's a story. You're writing a story that you're gonna look back at, in a couple of years' time, if everything works out, and you'll be happy with yourself. And as Leah said there, if you delete it, I mean, these things allow you to learn, even if you f something up. It's going to allow you to learn and not make those mistakes. And if as I said, it's a story that you can look back on later down the line and be proud of yourself. So from myself, I would say consistency is key. If you want to grow your fan base, I don't want to say become an influencer, because I really don't like that word. But if you want to have a group of people who are on this journey with you, then consistency is key. It works with algorithms, as we said earlier. These platforms want people to stay on them. So the more you create, the more exposure you have, the more people watch your content, and it goes in your favor. So consistency, hard work, and just enjoy it. It's a story. You're writing a story that hopefully you'll be proud of.
And one thing I want to add to that was well said, integrity. You can, you can become successful without having that. Obviously, it depends on the person. It depends how you did it. But if you're gonna have a large following, yet everyone knows you're a lying sack of shit, it really means nothing. So, like, that's something that I've tried to keep with me. I don't want to hurt the people that follow me. I want what's best for them, and like, obviously I won't get everything right all the time. I'm human, and I'm still learning. But it has to be your audience first, no matter what content you're putting out, no matter what you're doing. At least to me. And yeah, so just keep your integrity about you, and you can see guys in the space that have done that well. Cred, for example, Don Alt, Loomdart, all these guys, they've probably been offered hundreds of thousands of dollars to randomly shill projects, or to lie through their teeth about something, yet they didn't do it. And that's why now they're creating businesses, they're creating things around them, and people want to support them because they were honest and they provided value and they were true. So I think that's an important thing to add to this conversation.
I'm so glad that you mentioned that, because that's probably the biggest thing to keep in mind when you are a content creator. Like, even like I was saying, like, my channel is pretty new, and I get approached all the time by brands that want to pay me to shill them, and I'm like, wow, if I'm this new, like, I can't even imagine what that's like, kind of up at the higher end. And that's where I think it's really important to keep the long game in mind, because yes, if you make some quick money, like, you could probably start a crypto channel and have different brands reach out to you, but ultimately, like, when you're looking at the long-term strategy, the reason that those people you just mentioned are so big today is because they didn't take that kind of quick money. They really stayed true kind of long-term to what resonated with them and what they thought was really good. And so the other thing kind of with that is that if you get a reputation early on for being a shill machine, then you're probably never going to grow, right? And so I think that just being really cautious and careful and being willing to kind of slowly approach the monetization piece of things and approach that piece intentionally, I think is really important for anyone starting out.
Sorry, Cred made me laugh in chat.
I haven't checked in a few minutes. I gotta hop over.
Yeah, but that's a good point. I mean, some of the accounts that do shill are huge, so it's not even the size. Fuck. I guess, like, you can do it any way you want, but whatever helps you sleep at night, right? Like people will follow anything if it's controversial or so. I don't know. I prefer sleeping quite well. So, Dom, Leah, I really appreciate you guys coming on and hanging out. Dom, I hope your first live stream wasn't too hectic. Hope you had a good time. And to everyone in chat, thank you so much for streaming in. As always, if you have any questions, you could always hit me up. Follow these two on Twitter, YouTube, whatnot. Their names are in the title. And I will be streaming twice on Wednesday. I'm going to be streaming at 3 p.m. Eastern with Not So Fast, the folks from IDEX Charisma. We're going to talk about DEXs. And later on that night, I'm doing the Wednesday night crypto chat, and the lineups to be sent over soon. So everyone at home, I appreciate you guys. Take care. And you two, hold up. Don't hang up on me yet. I want to chat. Take care, y'all.
All right, bye guys.
Cheers.